Awesome. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Yeah, so first we want to quickly go over the topics and then I'll pass it off to the panelists to introduce themselves. So thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Becca. I'm also very excited to be here. For this session, we're going to start out by exploring the broad impact of recognition on business and culture. Next, we'll discuss integrating recognition into distributed and remote environments, driving engagement with technology and effective onboarding strategies. We'll then address the challenges in maintaining sustainable recognition programs involving leaders and wrapping up with the impact on the business's bottom line. Before we get into it though, let's do a quick round of introductions from the panelists. I'll pass it first here to Alyssa.
Hey everyone, my name's Alyssa. I'm the People and Culture Manager at Customer IO, and I've been with the team since July of 2019. And we have always had a really great ingrained culture of recognition and engagement, but we recently switched to bucket list in January to build more of an enhanced and robust rewards and recognition program.
All right, maybe Fiona, if you want to introduce yourself.
Okay, awesome. And I apologize in advance. My neighbor's dogs are barking. So if you can hear them in the background, one, they're not mine. Two, I'm sorry. But anyhow, my name is Fiona Dykes. I am the Director of People and Culture here at Highlight Technologies. And I have been with the company for just over 7 years. So I joined back in 2017 and have seen a roller coaster ride of growth and innovation that has happened over those 7 years here at Highlight, both at a larger organizational scale and then also within the people and culture space. So really excited to be talking here with you guys today.
And Jennifer. Oh, Jennifer, we can't hear your audio.
Okay.
There we go.
Can you hear me? Okay, wonderful. My name is Jennifer Howell, and I am the Director of People and Culture here at the American Marketing Association. I've been at the AMA since actually next week will be 6 years. So I started here pre-pandemic and we were all centrally located in Chicago. And then in March 2020, we all went remote and never looked back. We've been using Bucket List for 2 years now, and it has really been a truly wonderful addition to, oh yeah, I mean, Spidey, it's a whole thing. I can tell you later. He likes to join me in meetings, but I'm really thrilled to be here and talk about rewards and recognition and engaging a remote workforce.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. So we'll go ahead and hop into it with our first question. So first, how has recognition positively impacted your business, culture, and people? And sharing specific examples would be great.
I would love to kick it off. We're a globally distributed remote team with team members in just over 30 different countries. So having a way to quickly and timely recognize and reward each other has lended to a really engaged and positive team culture. So we have built it into our daily operations with different automations for welcoming new team members and automating birthday and anniversary awards and rewards. So that consistency has helped drive the engagement.
Oh, Fiona, you're muted.
Oh, here we go. But yes, anyway, I know for us, having that formal recognition program has definitely been a game changer as we're spread out across the country, across all different time zones. And it's been a really powerful tool to help bridge those gaps created by the physical distance and when we're not able to be together in person. So we're really able to meet employees where they are and bring our culture to them, and really using our program as that virtual water cooler, if you will. So this has really fostered that cross-team awareness and collaboration where it's not just about acknowledging good work that people are doing, but it's also been an opportunity to share stories, collaborate on different programs, celebrate successes, and just generally keep everybody in the loop about the exciting projects and the work that's happening across our teams.
So the AMA, we have 6 core competencies or core values, whatever you'd like to call them. And a lot of organizations will say these things and then put them on a wall, and then you never hear about them again. And so a rewards and recognition program for us, we really wanted people to engage with these competencies and have that stay within the vocabulary on a regular basis. So anytime somebody gives, bucket list points or recognition, they have to choose 1, 2, or 6 of our core competencies. So it's in their mind all the time, and it's part of the conversation. So that's been really meaningful. And we see so much peer-to-peer, not just top-down recognition. And we see cross-team recognition, which I love so much. And it really just sort of embodies the idea that cross-team collaboration can happen even in a remote work environment where silos can happen really, really fast and very, very, be very hard to break down.
Yeah, +1 definitely on those values. I know placing that at the forefront has really been an approach that we've had success with as well. Like Jennifer said, by requiring employees to connect each recognition to a specific company value, we've really elevated those moments of appreciation from being just a simple acknowledgement to more of a meaningful reinforcement of our core principles. So it makes each practice more intentional and really prompts employees to pause, reflect on their colleagues' actions and how they're in alignment. So they're not only being recognized for what they do, but also for how they're embodying who we are as an organization. So it's a really powerful feedback loop.
Yeah, +2 to that. We had used a previous platform where we didn't tie the recognition to a core value, and that was a key differentiator moving to bucket list, was getting those top values top of mind for folks and making the recognition more intentional, like you said, and elaborating on, instead of just a quick thank you, which is meaningful and is important and impactful in its own way, but tying it back to, oh, hey, they really touched on our core value of empathy or responsibility, leveled up our recognition giving.
We actually, one of the things that we did, because sometimes you just get tied up in the business of the day and it's like, oh, I'll remember to thank this person later. And then you just forget because you're in it. And when you're in people and culture, you're in it in really high stakes stuff all the time. And so one of the things that we did to really just sort of like as a trigger is we have a Feedback Friday calendar invite every Friday morning. And so it's like a trigger with a link to go to bucket list to sort of say, hey, take a second and reflect on the week that was and shine a light on somebody. That might be the highlight of their day. And so it's sort of like, I can't really underestimate the impact that that has had on our company culture. And just, having people engage with gratitude, and gratitude's one of our core competencies too. So it all feeds itself. It's a wonderful thing that we found successful.
I think that's
We'll definitely be stealing that Feedback Friday.
Yes,
from you,
same.
Love that. Yeah, it sounds like you've all really made a lot of effort to tie recognition really into the culture and help make the culture authentic. Outside of tying it to core values, is there any other way that recognition is like becoming an integral part of your culture?
Yeah, I would say just something that stands out to me that I really appreciate about Customer IO that came up in the last session about like what was the most meaningful like reward that you've received is, I think it's really special how we recognize both personal and professional milestones or things that happen in people's lives so they can really feel like they're bringing their whole self to work, their whole person to work. So, we celebrate weddings. We celebrate if you move into a new home, we have specific bucket list badges for those things. And then people can go +1 and say, congratulations, or, looking forward to seeing photos. And so kind of that whole picture from not just the work that they're doing, but also their individual lives too.
And it's also a platform's, it's only as good as how much it's used, right? So it's like you can put these things into place and see the value of it, but if it's not utilized, then it's not going to go anywhere. So that's why kind of communicating it and having, a Feedback Friday or shouting people out in different spaces is so, so vital. And it shows an intentionality of how you're building and creating and reinforcing these things within your organization.
Yeah, I was just at a virtual happy hour yesterday, and somebody had let slip that they had gotten engaged a few weeks ago. And around the room, we're like, "Why didn't you tell us? Like, we would have given you points. We would have given you that badge on bucket list and things like that." And so I know it may seem small, but just that recognition, like Alyssa said, of both professional and their personal lives, and celebrating the whole person in the workplace can be so impactful.
Fantastic. Yeah, that really helps lead into the next one of like recognizing the whole person, because we all know a challenge with a remote or distributed workforce is that employee engagement. So how can employee recognition help drive the engagement, and how can technology really help enhance these strategies?
I mean, I think remote work works better for some folks. And one of the things that we found was that introverted team members use the platform the most, and they're the most visible users of it. So they're showing a different side to themselves than, you know, what one would expect. So raising awareness of team members' value adds, not just the loudest voice in the room, is also really kind of vital. So like when we see somebody who like, I don't think I have heard this person speak in 6 months, but they are all over my feed because they're hearing and they're listening and they're expressing their gratitude. And that I think is when you see somebody who is quiet, they're still engaged. But you've given them a space where they can be engaged in a way that's more comfortable for them.
Yeah, we've really taken the approach of integrating our platform directly into our existing primary communication tools. So things like Microsoft Teams and our employee intranet that is a daily use for many employees. This really enables our workforce to give recognition without having to switch contexts, again, making it super approachable, meeting them where they are. So of course, we've got mobile app capabilities, letting them receive and give out recognition anytime, anywhere. We've also recently implemented self-awarded recognition too. So things like you participated in our wellness program, you can claim that reward for yourself. You submitted a referral, that's amazing. Here's a cup of coffee on us, here's lunch on us. And that not only drives interaction with the platform, but it promotes goal setting if you use it appropriately, and really gives employees that sense of agency, control, and that immediate gratification of a job well done.
Yeah, I'll definitely piggyback on that. And I cannot wait to implement some of those self-awarded programs. We've definitely been looking at them. So we do have wellness programs, but just +1 to integrating it into the systems that you're already using daily. So we have it within Slack. We call our points tacos. So everyone is very well versed in make sure that you're giving tacos, receiving tacos. We have really fun emojis for, we have an IOU taco for if we ran out for that certain day, but making it, keeping it top of mind and making it easy to access, I think has been key to our success with implementing Bucket List.
That's fantastic. Yeah, and one thing that we've also seen is that making sure that leaders are engaged is really key to building like engagement and supporting recognition programs. What are some strategies that you use to ensure their participation remains impactful?
I mean, one of the things that we do, I mean, right after this, I'm going to a senior leadership team meeting and we track the number of points given. And so on a weekly basis, and how many points are redeemed as well. And so it's like a constant, like we have the data and we have the metrics to show that this is important and it's a value to our folks. And so that is continuing to add into the buy-in that our leadership has with it. If you can basically show them data, they're going to be on board with it, is kind of like that's what me and Spidey believe anyway.
I know for us, we've really taken the approach of leading by example. Obviously, peer-to-peer is what our goal at the end of the day is, but our leadership team, from our board of directors, our C-suite, and our frontline managers recognize their role as champions for recognition, right? And they help demonstrate the importance of it by really setting the tone for the entire workforce, really leading the charge. And that emphasizes the importance of fostering that genuine environment. And as it catches on, recognition becomes that natural extension of our culture rather than just a contrived activity. And it informs happier employees are employees that are going to want to stay and impact your retention, impact your productivity, and therefore impacting your profitability, and so on and so forth. And so going back to what Jennifer was saying about the data, it all goes back to that. And any way that you can tie that return on investment back to your leaders and how they can really help move the needle can make a big difference.
I'm right there with you, leading with the data, and Bucket List does such a great job at having that data available for us to use and see, and providing best practices, which teams are kind of standing out as being top givers, recognizing those top givers for being the top givers, right? Creating a little bit of like healthy competition of who wants to be on top of the leaderboard. And I think, yeah, kind of best practices. And I know I'm really looking forward to setting up a workshop in the new year of like, hey, here are some new things to think about, different ways to give recognition. Maybe you've run out of your tacos or your points for the week, but you can still give that recognition in the platform and let people +1 it. So not holding back, just continuing to, like Fiona said, definitely like leading from the top and showing that it's important.
And the interesting thing is that our leaderboard is how many people who are giving the most points away. And 9 times out of 10, that's not a manager of others. And so it's, I think feedback should be a gift, and it should be a gift that's not just seen from here to here. It should be seen across the board. And when you normalize feedback and gratitude, like, it is very impactful.
I love that, flipping the leaderboard on its head rather than recognizing those who are already continually being recognized, recognizing those that are contributing to that. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down.
That's awesome. Alyssa, I believe you had also shared earlier a little story about redeeming an experience and the impact that the org.
Yeah, and I actually just got some pictures and a blurb from our CTO redeemed his points for an experience to drive exotic cars for the day, and he brought his son, his sister, and brother-in-law along for the adventure, and he was sharing how it was so impactful because not only would he probably not splurge on himself to do that type of activity, so being able to do that from our recognition program, but also that came from recognition from his team, his peers, our company, was that much more meaningful to him. So he had that true bucket list experience kind of checked off, and CTO, C-suite team member. So going to show that it can be impactful at every level within your organization.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. So it's kind of just speaking to the fact that it's, not just managers being in there and involved, and leadership being in there and involved in giving recognitions, but also participating in the program and really showing the impact for it. I love that. Yeah. And so the other thing that can be difficult is like bringing new hires into the fold really quickly, especially in a distributed or remote workforce. What are some effective strategies that you've used for recognizing new hires and really helping them feel quickly connected?
Yeah, I know for us, we have a welcome award. So day 1, it's broadcasted to the entire highlight team that, hey, we've got a new team member, join us, and welcoming them to the fold, welcoming them to the company. And we've found that this has really accelerated their integration into our culture. And it's a minor but major also stepping stone for really setting them up for that long-term success within the organization. I mean, day 1, having that positive experience, knowing that you are welcomed into this company and feel like you are a part of the company on day 1, it's huge for employees, especially when they're in California and we're in Virginia or wherever it may be. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, I'll jump in there. We just added this addition to our onboarding guide, but adding a task list item for, hey, on day one, hop into bucket list and go give out your first taco. Check out more about what tacos mean to us here, just to get them in there and get integrated. But really, on day one, they get that same welcome award, which is automated, so it's easy on our side. But then they share a blurb about themselves to our general channel, just of who they are, where they live, what are some of their interests. And then people always go back into bucket list and say, so happy to meet you. Here's some tacos for your, recent adventure, for joining the team. So just, yeah, getting to know people and then being able to see that translated over into the bucket list feed has been really powerful.
Yeah, and same as Fiona and Alyssa, we have a welcome award. So the first time that a new hire logs into Bucket List, they get 80 points. We used to do swag, so I would come into the office, I'm in once a week. Today is my day, which is why Spidey's here with me. And I would just grab whatever AMA branded swag we had. But it's like, well, nobody likes like a backpack if they're not going anywhere. Away from home. So we found that it was an ineffective kind of onboarding experience. So we decided that we wanted to have a welcome package with points, and in the store option, they could get swag, and whatever swag meant the most to them, it was most helpful. So was it, a t-shirt? Was it a hat? Was it a sweatshirt? Was it a blanket? Because everybody has a work blankie at home. Is it a dog bowl? What does that look like? And so by meeting people where they are, they could use that money however they wanted. And that's been more meaningful than giving them something that's just going to get shoved in a drawer somewhere.
Absolutely. I see a question in the chat. I hope it would be okay if I answered. Does bucket list work for international employees? Let me tell you, we put them through the ringer, getting all 30 some odd of our countries awards available within bucket list. So yes, it absolutely does. That was also one of our big reasons for making the switch, was that it was much more equitable for the team members in the US and team members in, India or Singapore to have a very similar experience versus other gifting platforms. We found that folks in the US and Canada had a lot of options and other countries had way fewer choices. So this way they get gift cards and experiences that are curated to their specific location. So it absolutely works. And, they, I think, can use our kind of our setup for an easy guide.
That's really cool, Alyssa. So one of the cool things is when we show people bucket list for the first time, they'll say, oh, well, why is there stuff being shown in DC? We have 2 team members that are in DC. Wherever we have team members, we have experiences there. So say you're going on vacation to New York City, right? You're going to see some rewards that you can use when you're on vacation. So that's also a way where they're like, oh my God, do we have people in Virginia? We have people in Oregon. We do. And like, this is it's a really neat way to personalize it. And then also provide like a really great experience if somebody's going to another part of the country.
Yeah. Absolutely. And even with the various countries and locations, we also have our specific customer catalog section. So customer IO section. So we have our own, sometimes monetary, sometimes not, rewards available within there that are open to everybody.
Something else we do for the new hires, and this leads into the experiences as well, is I'm sure the first 4 or 6 weeks of new employment can be like drinking through a fire hose. And so something else we do and that we've automated is to kind of send them a reminder, hey, don't forget about us on bucket list here, just in case if they haven't been active, or even if they have been, again, it's automated. So they get that reminder to go back in, and they get more points associated with that reminder. And those are specifically tied to our swag. So once they've really gotten a chance to get to know the company in those first few weeks, now they have an opportunity to pick up anything that they may want for themselves that's highlight branded and that they're actually excited about at that point. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah. I love that, Fiona. Oh, so sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'll be quick. Yeah, that reminded me of, I used to meet with every new hire and I would ask like this trick question, like, what is the quickest way to get the most tacos? And they would be like, what could the answer be? I want to know how to get it. And I'm like, to give them. Give tacos and you receive tacos back, right? Like the more you give, the more you get back. And so that was always just a fun. They're waiting for like the secret answer, and it was
Easy
just
button.
really simple. Yeah.
Somebody had asked in the Q&A, is bucket list successful across generations? So we have boomers, we have Gen X, we have millennials and Gen Z here at the AMA. And when you make it as simple as a link and they can use it on their laptop at home, that's where a lot of the engagement happens. I have it as an app too. And so like if I'm, going to Target and I want to treat myself, like I can redeem while I'm at it. But it is very user friendly. So we've not had a problem through a multi-generational organization.
Again, being able to select how they want to be rewarded gives that variety where your folks coming right out of college that are brand new to the workforce find value in those awards, as do your folks that are nearing retirement and everybody in between.
Yeah. I mean, our gift cards are such big things. And so it's like, we notice that like for our younger team members, DoorDash and Uber, that is for their money, Chipotle too. But for folks that are a little bit older, it's hotels.com, Expedia, Visa and MasterCard, because they're using it to fund other things. Target, Amazon is our number one. Everybody uses Amazon and orders from Amazon. So it's very inclusive in the ways that you can redeem those points too. So I think it's an inclusive space.
Yeah. So really just tying back like meaningful rewards helps boost the engagement and really supporting it. I also wanted to call out a comment that Christine made in the chat, kind of bring it back to new hires, because I think this is really cool. Similar to Fiona, how you mentioned like going on beyond that first week, but recognizing throughout the onboarding journey, like onboarding milestones and celebrating them on an ongoing basis. Is that something that y'all do internally, recognize on that ongoing basis? Any strategies there?
I mean, in order to have something be sustainable, like we noticed that in the first 18 months that we had bucket list, and somebody had asked in the chat, Stacy, do you tax employees on gift cards and do we tax employees on this? We don't. We true it up. Not every organization is able to do that, but we found that in 18 months, we had spent $100,000 on rewards and recognition. It's a lot. And so when we were faced with budgeting and we had high engagement, 100% buy-in, we had to slow the outflow in our budget. And so instead of lessening the amount that a point was worth, we simply said your point allocation is going down. So if you're an individual contributor, instead of getting 50 points, you get 40 points. Instead of a manager of others getting 75, you get 50. And that slowed the outflow of money. But there's also still been more engagement since that shift happened. So now it's built into how people function, and they give points away, and it's just part of how they function.
That's fantastic. Yeah. It kind of goes into a little bit of challenges too, because there's always that budget aspect. But what challenges do specifically like distributed teams face with recognition programs? And how can these kind of be overcome to create sustainable programs?
Have to agree with Jennifer. Our taco economy was a little bit wild. I know it sounds funny to put it in those terms, but we really looked one day and realized, whoa, these are rolling over every year. So we just kind of have this wild number in the universe that may happen and come to reality. So we needed to take some time to realize people love our recognition program. They are absolutely engaged in it. So we want to keep it working. How can we do that in a way that is sustainable and can continue growing with us? Because for example, when I joined the team in 2019, we were maybe 56 people, and now we're closer to 300. So the same things can't quite happen. Tacos were worth the value of a US dollar. So we just really worked with our finance team because we knew we had leadership buy-in. We just needed to find a happy medium. And I think we got there. So we, reallocated that everybody in the company gets 40 tacos per week, and that each taco is worth 50 cents. So far it has been working really beautifully, and it's something that we can now look year over year to reassess, like, do we have space to give more? How are the redemptions looking? But letting it lead with data can help overcome a lot of those challenges, I think.
Yeah, and I think this is a recurring theme that you'll hear from the three of us throughout is data rules everything. And so one of the ways that we've incorporated that into our platform is aligning the usage and how our employees interact with our company goals. And so there may be a goal of X number of recognitions we want to go out in a span of a 6-month period or over the course of the year. And so employees have that in mind. It kind of trickles down throughout the teams where how can we then contribute to that goal? And we help put context to that goal, right? How is this moving the needle? How does this in turn benefit you as an employee? And we're an employee-owned company. And so there's really that factor of employee ownership and having a sense of ownership in the company and the decisions that we're rolling out. And that's been really impactful. We've got those objectives and the key results associated with them. And the goals aspect, combining those into the platform that's been a new thing for this year, but we've seen an increase, 30% increase in month-to-month engagement since we've incorporated that. And that's, again, back to the data. When you bring that metric to the board and describe how that factors in the ROI, it's a win-win for them.
I love that about the company goals. I mean, because I think one of the things that people can struggle with on the day-to-day is the work that I'm doing actually actively and very like tangibly tying into organizational goals. Sometimes it may not. And that's okay. But if you provide it as an option to recognize on behalf of, then organizational goals become part of the vocabulary and part of something that they're familiar with more than just the start of the fiscal year. So I love that. I'm stealing that.
Right. Because at the end of the day, we want to continue rewarding and recognizing the behavior that we want to see repeated. And so saying thank you and, great job on X, Y, or Z, project is one thing, but tying it back to this really helped this overarching goal. I love that, Fiona. I would love to see if we can work that in somewhere in our programming. But I think something similar that we do is creating custom awards for different team recognitions. So for example, a hackathon that our engineer team works on, we create a special badge and it has a set amount of points attached to it. So almost like a spot bonus. Or our customer success team has CS AMI, which is our internal little mascot, and so they get their own each month. So having it tie back to those really specific goals or projects, I think, and reinforces that same behavior.
Awesome. So kind of jumped a little bit into it with focusing on like behaviors around company goals, but how can recognition and engagement overall like impact a business's bottom line?
I mean, I think the fact that individual contributors are our highest users says a lot. When a company's goals are really big, it's easy to get lost in the work. And so making sure that all voices are heard, visibility is meaningful. So linking rewards and recognition, like one of the things that I started doing, partially because AMA was a case study for Bucket List, I actually put a link to that case study in our job postings. And so people can go in and look and discover Bucket List and see that like it's part of our employer branding. And they hear it from our phone interviews. And we don't just say that these are things that we believe in, we mean it. So again, like a business's bottom line is only as good as the people that are tasked with like making that bottom line happen and come to life. So it's taking that big, huge thing and saying, this is really meaningful and impactful to the people that are working. And so that I think sometimes can be a disconnect in a big company. They'll see like, wow, okay, well, I'm just doing my thing over here. No, no, no. It is all of it. It's all of it.
Yeah, I think, boosting engagement and having really happy and valued employees directly correlates to them being having high productivity and being happy, and more happy and engaged team members will contribute directly to your bottom line, as well as reduce turnover. Keep those top people that you hired them for a reason. So now that they're here, like, what more can we do to make sure that we are recognizing them and keeping them here? um I think, there's also direct correlation between engagement surveys and recognition. So being able to see those trends between highly engaged teams and highly recognized teams, or teams that might be struggling and have more opportunity there.
Yeah, and I think going back to the employee ownership piece here at Highlight, right? Rising tides lifts all boats, that kind of thing. Having visibility into others' success and the celebrations associated with those successes really empowers and re-engages and reinvigorates our employees to contribute to that success in their own way, however, whatever that looks like. And it gives their role meaning to the entire company, and again, contributes to the productivity, the revenue, lower turnover, all of the great data, again, for our leaders to latch on to.
Fantastic. Thank you. So we've got kind of one last wrap-up question here. And so just curious to hear from the three of you, what is one thing that we should take away from this session today? And then also in the comments, would love to hear key takeaways that that everybody has had here.
I think the thing that you should take away is that the people that are more likely to give recognition, that shouldn't be the end all be all of your organization. And normalizing gratitude and normalizing it across an organization can have really massive impacts. So making sure that you are coming to your team members where they are, and when they're in a distributed workforce, you might have team members that are neurodivergent. You might have people who you think are disengaged, they're not. So just make sure that when you're tailoring these programs, that you're taking all of those things into account and making it like a real thing that they can participate in.
I know for me, I would say that people are your number one asset, right? Nothing in your company is going to function without the people that are working day in and day out to make sure that your customers are getting the delivery and the support that they're looking for from you, and the support internally as well. And so really take into consideration feedback from your employees on whatever recognition platform or recognition method that you're using, to make sure that they are getting value from what you're providing. Because I know many iterations we've gone through of different programs and recognition platforms, and just ways for us to engage our employees. And it goes back to making sure that they are part of that decision-making process and feel that they have a stake in the game, right? And that it's valuable to them.
I love that. A lot of the same is that your company is only as successful as the people within it, and that we are all truly one team working towards the same goal. And so having recognition be an essential part of your culture just makes everything run smoother and ensures that people stay happy and feel connected. And that, yeah, you are only as good as your people. So treat them well and recognize each other.
And I think, Alyssa, that is springing this, setting my brain on fire a little bit. I love it, because one of the things, if most of the people in this room are people in culture, human resources, sometimes it can feel as though we are responsible for people's happiness, and that we are responsible for and bear the weight of how somebody experiences the workplace. We sure play a part. 100% we play a part, but it's also the work and the managers and the leadership and all of these other things. And if you turn recognition and rewards and recognition, if you put it in the hands of everyone, then you're going to see how that's going to propel your business forward. And it takes a little bit off of you to have to be that thing all the time. So for us, our work is really tiring. And I think that that's something that we could all really agree on. And this is one way that you can ease the mental load. And when you're having a rough day, there is nothing better than scrolling the bucket list feed. Like really and truly, when I'm having a struggle bus kind of a day and I don't have Spidey to bring me up, I will just scroll bucket list. And it's the opposite of doom scrolling. And it is wonderful.
I totally agree. Every employee is a part of the culture, impacts the culture, and makes the culture. So we provide these great programs and kind of guidelines and best practices and empower them to lean into owning the culture with us.